Bullies broke her wings each morning, until one human girl broke their faces. The sun had just started to rise over the city of Aurora 7. Its pale light spilled across the tall buildings and glimmering streets. On the far side of the colony in the school district, a group of students was already gathered. Among them was Lyra, a young alien girl. Her wings were folded tightly behind her back. They were soft, delicate, and covered in feathers that shimmered in the morning light. But today, like every morning, they were not free. The bullies were already there. 4 alien students, bigger and stronger than Lyra, were waiting for her. They always came at the same time, every morning. Their leader, a tall alien named Curran, had sharp claws and a cruel smile. Next to him were Varro, Jinna, and Lorik. They were quick, strong, and fearless, and they loved to hurt Lyra. Lyra kept her eyes on the ground as she approached. Her stomach twisted with fear. She wished she could disappear. Her wings twitched involuntarily as if they remembered the pain from yesterday. "Morning, Lyra," Curran said. His voice was low and mocking. "Ready for today?" Lyra said nothing. She kept walking, hoping to get past them. Varro stepped in front of her. "Don't even try to walk past, we know the drill." Lyra stopped. Her heart pounded. She knew what was coming. Curran moved closer, his claws flexing. Jinna and Lorik circled her like predators, making her back up a little. "You know how it works," Curran said. "Your wings need to learn their place, fold them or feel the consequences." Lyra swallowed hard. Her wings were her pride. They were the part of her that could soar above others, that made her feel free. But now, every morning, they had become a symbol of her fear. Curran struck first. He pressed his claws against one of her wings, twisting it painfully. Lyra gasped, a small sound that almost escaped before she caught it. The pain was sharp and sudden, running from the base of her wing to the tip. "Stop!" She wanted to scream, but the words got stuck. Varro grabbed her other wing. Jinna and Lorik held her down. They laughed as they crushed her wings carefully, making sure the feathers bent and broke in the wrong way. Lyra struggled but could not escape. Her wings felt weak, fragile, and useless. When it was over, the bullies stepped back, smiling. Lyra was on the ground, her wings bent awkwardly behind her. She tried to stand, but a sharp pain made her wince. She looked up at them silently, tears forming in her eyes. "See you tomorrow," Curran said. The group turned and walked away, leaving Lyra on the cold, hard ground. She sat there for a moment, feeling the sting of humiliation. No one helped. Other students walked by, eyes down, pretending not to see. It was a normal morning at Aurora 7 High School. Lyra finally stood and folded her damaged wings as best as she could. She moved slowly toward the building, her steps careful. Every movement was painful. She could feel the eyes of other students watching, but no one came to her aid. She was alone. In the hallway, Lyra found a quiet corner. She rested against the wall, breathing heavily. Her hands ran over her wings, checking the damage. Some feathers were bent, some broken. It would take days for them to heal. "Why me?" she whispered to herself. Her voice was barely audible. "You'll have to get used to it," a soft voice said from behind. Lyra turned to see a human girl standing there. She had brown hair tied in a ponytail and green eyes that seemed full of determination. Who are you?" Lyra asked. She wasn't used to humans speaking to her. Most of them stayed away from alien problems. "I'm Clara," the girl said. "I just moved here. I saw what happened outside. That's not fair." Lyra shook her head. It's nothing. I can handle it." Her voice was quiet, but it held a hint of pain. Clara frowned. "Nothing. Your wings are destroyed. You can't just ignore this. No one deserves that." Lyra looked at her suspiciously. Humans rarely understood alien rules. "It's our way. We don't fight back. It's dishonorable." Clara's eyes widened. "Dishonorable? That's nonsense. It's bullying, plain and simple. Nobody should let others hurt them like that every day." Lyra's ears twitched. She wasn't used to someone defending her. She had spent so long accepting her pain. I can't," she whispered. "You can," Clara said firmly. "You just don't know how yet, and I can help you." Lyra blinked. You help me? Yes, Clara said. If you're willing, I can teach you how to fight back. Not to hurt for no reason, but to protect yourself. You deserve that. Lyra looked down at her wings. They were still folded, still bent. She thought of the pain, the humiliation, the long mornings of being crushed. She looked back at Clara and saw no fear, only determination. Okay, Lyra said quietly. I'll try, Clara smiled. Good, we start today. You'll see it's not as scary as it seems. The bell rang and students rushed to their classrooms. Clara led Lyra to an empty practice room near the gym. It was simple, a space with padded walls and mirrors. Perfect for learning, Clara said. First, we start with movement, Clara explained. You need to know how to dodge and protect yourself. Watch me. Clara moved quickly, showing Lyra simple actions. She dodged invisible attacks, stepped lightly, and used her hands to block imaginary strikes. Lyra watched carefully. Every movement was precise, but also natural. Now you try, Clara said. Lyra hesitated, then lifted her wings slightly to balance herself. She moved her arms, tried to mimic Clara's steps. At first she stumbled, almost falling over, but Clara didn't let her give up. Again, Clara said. Slowly this time, feel your body. Trust yourself. Lyra tried again. This time her movements were smoother. She felt her wings respond even though they were still weak. For the first time she felt a spark of hope. This is different, Lyra said, breathless. I never thought I could do this. You can, Clara said. Humans aren't special because we're stronger. We're special because we fight when it's hard. That's what makes us dangerous. Lyra nodded slowly. I want to be like that, Clara smiled. Good, tomorrow we start practicing with more intensity. And soon, you'll see the bullies won't be able to touch you. Lyra felt a warmth in her chest she hadn't felt before. For the first time in months, she didn't feel completely helpless. She still feared the bullies, but she also felt the first flicker of courage. After practice, they left the room quietly. The hallway was crowded with students, some human, some alien. No one noticed them, but Lyra felt different. She walked taller. Her wings were still folded, still fragile, but she carried herself with a new sense of purpose. Clara walked beside her. Tomorrow morning, she said, you'll have to face them, but I'll be there. You won't be alone. Lyra nodded. Her heart raced. The thought of facing Curran and his group again was terrifying, but for the first time she didn't feel powerless. She had a plan, she had an ally, she had hope. That night Lyra lay in her small room. The moonlight streamed through her window, illuminating her folded wings. She touched them gently, imagining them strong again. She thought about Clara's words, about fighting back, about courage. She fell asleep thinking, tomorrow things will be different. And somewhere deep inside, she felt her wings stir, not just with pain, but with the faintest hint of strength. The next morning, the sun rose over Aurora 7 again, spilling golden light across the city. Lyra woke slowly, her wings aching slightly from the previous day's injuries. She touched them gently, running her fingers over the bent feathers. They were still fragile, but she felt a small spark of determination inside her. Today would be different, she promised herself. She dressed quickly and left her small room. The streets were already busy with students heading to school. Humans and aliens walked side by side, talking and laughing, but Lyra could hardly focus on anything else. Her mind was on what awaited her at the schoolyard. Curran and his group would be there, ready to humiliate her once more. Clara was already waiting near the school entrance. She waved when she saw Lyra approaching. Ready? She asked. Lyra took a deep breath. I think so, Clara smiled. Good. Remember, today is about confidence, not strength. If you stay calm and move carefully, you can avoid their attacks. Lyra nodded. She tried to steady her heartbeat. Every step toward the bullies felt heavy, but Clara stayed beside her, offering quiet encouragement. As they reached the yard, the 4 bullies appeared. Curran's sharp claws glinted in the morning sun. Varro, Jinna, and Lorik circled around him like predators. They noticed Lyra immediately. Ah, look who's here, Curran said. The weak little winged girl, ready to be crushed again. Lyra didn't respond. Her wings were folded behind her back. She kept her gaze on the ground but did not show fear. Clara stepped slightly forward. "Leave her alone," Clara said firmly. Her voice carried across the yard. "She's done nothing to you." The bullies laughed. "And who are you?" Curran asked, his voice mocking. "Another human thinking she can stop us." Clara didn't answer with words. She stepped forward with a steady stance, her fists ready. The bullies looked confused. Humans were smaller and weaker in general, but there was something in Clara's eyes that made them pause. Lyra felt a small rush of courage. Seeing Clara stand there, unafraid, made her believe she could do more than just hide. She lifted her wings slightly, not to attack but to balance herself. Curran made the first move. He lunged toward Lyra, aiming to crush her wing. But Lyra moved quickly to the side, a movement she had practiced with Clara. She stumbled slightly, but she did not fall. The bullies looked surprised. "Not bad," Curran said, his voice cold. "You'll pay for that." Varro stepped in next, trying to grab her. Lyra sidestepped again, narrowly avoiding his claws. Clara intercepted Varro, grabbing his arm and pushing him back. The human girl moved with speed and precision, something the bullies did not expect. Jinna and Lorik rushed at Lyra together. She felt her wings tense, ready to help her balance as she dodged. Her body moved almost automatically, responding to Clara's lessons from yesterday. She twisted and jumped, avoiding their strikes. The bullies staggered, clearly frustrated. "This is impossible," Jinna yelled. Clara smiled faintly. "It's not impossible, you just underestimated her." Lyra felt a thrill of pride. For the first time, she was not just running. She was moving with purpose, defending herself, learning the strength she never thought she had. The bell rang, signaling the start of classes. The bullies backed off, realizing they could not finish their usual routine. Curran glared at Lyra and Clara. "This isn't over," he said. Then they turned and walked away, muttering threats under their breath. Lyra let out a shaky breath. Her wings hurt, but not as much as before. She felt a strange excitement building inside her. Today she had survived. Today she had moved. Clara patted her shoulder. "See. You're stronger than you think. We'll practice more after school. Tomorrow you'll be even better." Lyra nodded, feeling a small smile. "Thank you," she said quietly. Throughout the day, Lyra felt different. In her classes, she held her head higher. Some students noticed, some whispered. For the first time, Lyra felt like she belonged somewhere. She even noticed a few younger alien students looking at her with curiosity and hope, as if they were seeing someone brave for the first time. After classes ended, Lyra and Clara went to the practice room again. This time, Clara brought some training equipment, soft pads, ropes, and a small obstacle course. "Today," Clara said, "we focus on speed and precision. You need to move fast but also stay balanced. Your wings can help you if you use them right." Lyra nodded. She felt nervous but also excited. She was ready to learn. Clara demonstrated a series of movements, ducking under a rope, jumping over a low barrier, spinning to avoid imaginary attacks. Lyra followed, sometimes stumbling, sometimes moving smoothly. She began to notice that her wings were helping her balance, making her quicker than she expected. "You're learning fast," Clara said. "Humans fight with skill and courage, but you have a natural advantage. Use it." Lyra smiled faintly. "It feels good to move like this." "Good," Clara said. "Now we add a little challenge." She grabbed a soft training pad and swung it toward Lyra slowly. Lyra had to move her wings to balance herself while dodging the pad. She stumbled at first, but after a few tries she managed to step aside smoothly. "Excellent," Clara said. "That's exactly what I want. Keep practicing." For the next hour they repeated the exercises. Lyra's movements became faster, more confident. Her wings were still sore, but they were getting stronger. She felt her body learning something new, something powerful. When they finished, Lyra sat on the floor, breathing hard. I didn't think I could do this," she said. Clara smiled. "You're learning that being brave isn't about not feeling fear. It's about moving forward despite it. Remember that." Lyra nodded. She felt a strange warmth in her chest. Today was different. She had taken the first steps toward defending herself. She had seen that the bullies were not invincible. The next day, Lyra woke up earlier than usual. She looked at her wings in the morning light. They were not perfect, but they looked stronger than yesterday. She felt a small surge of hope. Today, she would try to be even better. When she arrived at school, the bullies were waiting again. Curran stepped forward, his expression angry. "You think yesterday made a difference," he said. Lyra did not answer. She folded her wings and stood tall. Clara was beside her, calm and steady. The bullies looked surprised at her confidence. "Let's see if you're ready," Clara said softly. The bullies lunged. Lyra moved quickly, dodging Curran's strike. Varro tried to grab her, but she sidestepped and used her wings to balance herself as she turned. Jinna and Lorik rushed together, but Lyra spun and ducked under their claws, her movements smoother than the day before. Clara intercepted the bullies when they came too close. Her speed and precision amazed the crowd. Other students began to stop and watch. Whispers spread quickly. "The human girl is fighting with the alien. Lyra is moving so fast." Lyra felt a rush of pride. She had never imagined she could face the bullies like this. She had always felt weak, helpless. But now, she was learning that courage could make a difference. The bullies tried again and again, but each time, Lyra and Clara worked together to block them. The human girl's training and Lyra's wings made a surprising combination. By the end of the confrontation, the bullies were bruised, frustrated, and shocked. "This isn't over," Curran said, glaring at Lyra. "We'll find a way to get you," Clara smiled. "And we'll be ready." Lyra felt a new sense of power. She was no longer just the girl with broken wings. She was learning to fight back. She was learning to survive. And for the first time, she felt hope that the bullying could end. After the fight, Lyra and Clara returned to the practice room. They practiced more, learning new ways to move, dodge, and protect themselves. Lyra began to enjoy the training. She felt her wings grow stronger with each movement, and her confidence grew along with them. By the time the sun began to set over Aurora 7, Lyra was exhausted but happy. She had faced the bullies twice today and had survived both times. She knew there would be more challenges, but she also knew she was no longer helpless. As she lay in bed that night, she thought about the day, about her movements, her wings, and the courage she had felt. She thought about Clara, who had shown her that being brave was possible. She touched her wings gently. They were still bent in places, but they felt stronger. She closed her eyes and smiled faintly. Tomorrow, she thought, would be another day to grow stronger, another day to face the bullies. And she knew deep inside that with Clara by her side, she would not face them alone. For the first time in a long time, Lyra fell asleep feeling hope instead of fear. The morning sun spilled over the horizon, painting the city of Aurora 7 in soft gold and pink. Lyra woke slowly, feeling her wings stretch slightly as she moved. They still ached from the past 2 days, but the pain was less sharp now. She touched them gently and felt a small surge of hope. Today would be different. Today, she would do more than just dodge. At the school entrance, Clara was waiting. She smiled when she saw Lyra approaching. "Ready for today?" she asked. Lyra nodded. "I think so. I feel stronger." Clara's eyes lit up. "Good. Today is about action. We've practiced enough. Now it's time to show them what you can do." Lyra swallowed. The thought of facing Curran and his group made her stomach twist. But she had learned from the past days. She had practiced, she had trained, and she had Clara by her side. She could do this. As they walked toward the schoolyard, the bullies appeared. Curran's claws glinted in the morning light, and his face was twisted with anger. Varro, Jinna, and Lorik flanked him, ready to continue their usual torment. "You're back," Curran said, his voice sharp. "Thought you could hide." Lyra did not answer. She folded her wings neatly behind her back and walked steadily. Clara stepped beside her. The human girl looked calm, her fists clenched but her body relaxed. The bullies frowned. Today, Clara said quietly to Lyra, we do not just dodge, we fight smart. Stay with me and remember your training. Lyra nodded. Her heart pounded, but she felt ready. Curran lunged first, aiming to crush Lyra's right wing, but Lyra moved quickly, twisting her body and landing lightly on her feet. She felt the wind lift her wings slightly, helping her balance as she moved. She had done this before, but this time, there was no fear holding her down. Varro tried to grab her from behind. Lyra jumped to the side, spinning and landing carefully. Clara intercepted Varro, pushing him back with controlled strength. The bully staggered, surprised by the human girl's speed and precision. Jinna and Lorik attacked together, trying to surround Lyra. But she anticipated their movements, using her wings for balance and her legs to pivot quickly. She ducked under one strike and spun away from another. The air around her seemed to move with her wings helping her glide in small arcs that made her movements smooth and unpredictable. The students watching from a distance were amazed. Many had seen Lyra as the weak, bullied girl, but now she moved with grace and confidence. Whispers spread quickly. Look at her, one student said. She's fighting back. You see, Clara whispered to Lyra, this is the power of courage. When you believe in yourself, others notice. Lyra felt her chest swell with pride. For the first time, she realized she was not just a victim. She could act. She could fight back. She could be brave. Curran tried again, lunging with more force. Lyra bent backward, letting his claws swipe past her. Then, using her wings for balance, she pushed off the ground lightly and dodged to the side, causing Curran to stumble slightly. Impossible, Curran yelled, frustration creeping into his voice. How is she doing this? Clara stepped forward, moving with precision to block any attack that came too close. Her presence gave Lyra confidence. She felt safe knowing Clara was there, ready to protect her if needed. Lyra's movements grew smoother. She spun, ducked, and dodged with increasing confidence. Her wings, once weak and fragile, responded to her balance and helped her move faster than the bullies expected. She realized that the more she trusted her body, the stronger she became. Suddenly, Varro lunged again. Lyra sidestepped and used a small kick to push him lightly away, not to hurt him seriously, but enough to stop him from grabbing her. She felt a rush of adrenaline. She was no longer just avoiding pain, she was taking action. Jinna and Lorik hesitated. They were confused by her sudden confidence and skill. For months they had controlled her with fear, but now they could not predict her movements. Stay calm, Clara whispered. Watch their patterns, move smart, not fast. Lyra nodded, focusing on each movement. She ducked under a claw, twisted to the side, and used her wings to balance as she spun around Varro. She landed lightly, feeling a surge of energy she had never experienced before. The bullies were growing frustrated. Every attack they tried was blocked, avoided, or countered. Lyra was no longer an easy target. She moved with precision and intelligence, and Clara's support made her nearly untouchable. Finally, Curran lunged one last time, aiming to crush her left wing. Lyra anticipated the attack. She twisted, stepped to the side, and used her wings to balance as she spun behind him. She lightly tapped his back enough to throw him off balance. Curran stumbled and fell forward, landing hard on the ground. The yard went silent. Even the other students were stunned. Curran looked up at her, eyes wide with disbelief. Varro, Jinna, and Lorik froze, unsure of what to do next. Clara smiled faintly. You see, she said, you have strength, you just needed to believe in yourself. Lyra felt a strange warmth in her chest. She had done it. She had faced the bullies and survived. Not only survived, she had moved, acted, and shown them that she was not weak. Curran got up slowly, his face red with anger and embarrassment. This isn't over, he said, his voice trembling. We'll get you next time. Lyra stood tall, wings folded neatly behind her back. I'm ready, she said quietly but with steady confidence. Clara placed a hand on her shoulder. And I'll be with you, she said. Together we can face anything. The bullies muttered threats under their breath but walked away. The students who had been watching began to whisper among themselves, admiration and curiosity in their voices. Many were surprised to see a human and an alien working together to defeat the bullies. Others felt hope that maybe the bullying could finally end. After the confrontation, Lyra and Clara returned to the practice room. Lyra's wings ached slightly, but the pain was now mixed with excitement. She had faced her fear, moved with confidence, and even surprised herself. "Today was amazing," Lyra said, sitting down and resting her wings. "I didn't think I could do that." "You did," Clara said, "and tomorrow we'll practice more. You'll learn new ways to defend yourself and your wings will grow even stronger." Lyra smiled faintly. "I want that. I want to be ready for anything." For the rest of the afternoon, they practiced. Clara showed Lyra how to move in patterns, how to anticipate attacks, and how to stay balanced. Lyra's wings helped her glide in small arcs, making her movements faster and more fluid. Each exercise built her confidence and strength. By evening, Lyra was exhausted but happy. She felt different from the girl who had entered the schoolyard that morning. She had learned something important. Fear could be overcome with courage and training. She had learned that she could fight back, not just to protect herself, but to reclaim her freedom. That night, Lyra lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. She thought about the day's events, about Curran and his group, about her movements, her wings, and the strange new confidence she felt. She remembered Clara's words, "You have strength. You just needed to believe in yourself." Lyra touched her wings gently. They were not perfect, but they felt stronger. She closed her eyes and smiled faintly. Tomorrow, she thought, would be another day to grow stronger, another day to face the bullies. And she knew deep inside that with Clara by her side, she would not face them alone. The next morning came quickly. Lyra woke, stretching her wings carefully. She felt more confident than ever. Today, she thought, she would not just survive. She would move with purpose. She would not fear. She would fight smart and brave. At the school entrance, Clara was waiting as always. "Ready for another day?" she asked. Lyra nodded. "Yes, I'm ready." Together, they walked toward the schoolyard. The bullies were already there, waiting. Curran's face twisted in anger when he saw Lyra standing tall, wings folded neatly behind her. "You again," he said. "You think you can beat us?" Lyra met his gaze without fear. "I'm not the same girl you bullied before," she said quietly but firmly. Clara stood beside her, calm and steady. The bullies hesitated, unsure of what to do next. They had never seen Lyra act like this. They had never seen a human girl fight with such precision and confidence. Lyra took a deep breath. She felt her wings stretch slightly, her body ready for action. Today would be another test, but she was no longer afraid. She had learned to move, to dodge, and to fight smart. And for the first time, she believed she could win. The next morning, Aurora 7 was bathed in soft sunlight. Lyra woke early, stretching her wings gently. They were no longer weak and fragile like before. The bruises from the bullies were fading and the feathers were starting to straighten. She felt lighter, stronger, and ready for the day. Clara was already waiting outside the dormitory. She smiled when Lyra appeared. "Good morning," she said. "You ready for today?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, I feel confident." Clara's eyes sparkled. "Good, today we take another step. We're going to show them that courage spreads. You're not alone anymore, and you're going to help others see that too." Lyra's wings twitched with excitement. She had learned to fight for herself, but now Clara wanted her to help others. She felt nervous. Could she really be a leader? Could she show others the strength she had found? When they arrived at the schoolyard, the bullies were already waiting. Curran, Varro, Jinna, and Lorik sneered when they saw Lyra. They expected fear, but they did not find it. Lyra stood tall, wings folded behind her back, eyes steady and focused. Clara was beside her, calm and strong. "You again," Curran said, his voice sharp. "You think yesterday was enough?" Lyra shook her head slowly. "No," she said softly. "It's not enough. Not for me and not for others who suffer like I did." The bullies laughed, but their confidence was beginning to waver. They had expected to face the same timid, weak girl, but she was not that girl anymore. Clara stepped forward. "You'll find that bullying doesn't work anymore. There are consequences now." Curran growled and lunged at Lyra. But she moved quickly, twisting to the side, letting him stumble past her. Her wings helped her balance as she turned to face Varro. She had practiced these movements countless times. She was fast, precise, and confident. Varro swung at her, but Lyra ducked and lightly pushed him back. It was not meant to hurt him, just to show that she could defend herself. Jinna and Lorik tried to attack together, but Lyra anticipated their moves. She twisted, ducked, and moved with smooth, graceful arcs. Her wings lifted slightly, helping her glide over small obstacles. The students watching began to whisper. "She's incredible," one said. "I've never seen anyone fight like that." Lyra noticed some of the younger alien students standing behind the benches, watching with wide eyes. They were students who had been bullied before, too afraid to act. Seeing Lyra move with strength gave them hope. Clara smiled. "See," she whispered to Lyra, "courage spreads, others will follow." Lyra's heart raced, but this time it was not fear, it was determination. She realized that she could inspire others. She could show them that they did not have to suffer in silence. Curran lunged again, but Lyra spun to the side, avoiding his claws. She lightly tapped his back to push him off balance. He stumbled and fell to the ground, angry and shocked. "Get up," he yelled, frustration breaking through his anger. Lyra stood tall, wings folded neatly behind her. "I'm not afraid of you," she said. "And I'm not alone." Clara nodded. "Good. Now let's show them how teamwork works." At that moment, a few other students, both humans and aliens, stepped forward. They had been watching for weeks, too afraid to act, but seeing Lyra and Clara fight gave them courage. One human boy named Ethan joined, and a small alien girl with short wings named Myra stepped forward. Together with Lyra and Clara, they formed a small team. The bullies were taken aback. They had not expected more students to join. Their confidence began to crumble. "You think you can stop us?" Curran shouted. Lyra stepped forward, her wings lifting slightly. "We're not trying to stop anyone. We're trying to protect ourselves and others, and you won't hurt anyone else today." The bullies lunged again, but this time the students worked together. Clara blocked Curran while Lyra dodged and countered Varro. Ethan helped Myra avoid Lorik's attack, and together they used simple teamwork to stay ahead of the bullies' strikes. It was not about strength alone. It was about coordination, timing, and courage. The bullies tried to act aggressively, but the group anticipated their moves. Every strike they attempted was met with careful defense or a quick dodge. The crowd of students watching began to cheer. Their voices spread across the yard. "Go, you can do it." Curran and the others faltered under the pressure. Their attacks became sloppy. Their confidence crumbled. The students who had been silent for months realized they could stand up too. Lyra felt a surge of pride. She had not only defended herself, but she had helped others find courage. Her wings lifted slightly as she balanced herself for another move. She dodged Jinna's attack and lightly pushed her back. Myra and Ethan moved beside her, supporting each other. Clara smiled. "This is exactly what I wanted to see. Strength isn't just about fighting alone. It's about standing together." The bullies tried one last desperate attack, but it failed. Lyra, Clara, Ethan, and Myra worked together smoothly, using careful movements and teamwork. The bullies fell back, exhausted and shocked. This isn't over," Curran said, breathing heavily. "We'll come back." Lyra folded her wings neatly and stood tall. "We'll be ready." The students around them cheered louder. They had seen something remarkable. A human girl and an alien girl had faced the bullies together and inspired others to join. The power of fear was broken, at least for now. After the confrontation, Lyra and Clara led the group to the practice room. They practiced more teamwork exercises, learning to move together and protect each other. Lyra's wings were stronger than ever, her movements smooth and precise. She felt proud, not just for herself, but for the other students who were learning to stand up. As the sun set over Aurora 7, the students left the practice room tired but happy. Lyra looked at her wings in the fading light. They were perfect now, strong and ready. She thought about how far she had come. She was no longer the weak girl who suffered every morning. She was a fighter, a leader, and a symbol of courage. Clara walked beside her. "You've done something amazing today," she said. "You've shown others that fear can be beaten, that bullying can end." Lyra nodded. "I couldn't have done it without you and without the others." "Together we're stronger," Clara smiled. "Exactly, remember that. And tomorrow we'll practice even more. The bullies will try again, but you'll be ready." That night, Lyra lay in bed thinking about the day. She thought about her wings, her movements, and the students who had joined them. She felt proud, strong, and hopeful. For the first time, she knew that she could make a real difference. Her wings twitched slightly as she closed her eyes. They had been broken, bruised, and bent. But now they were strong. They were symbols of her courage and the courage she had inspired in others. Tomorrow, she thought, would be another day to grow stronger, another day to protect others. And she knew deep inside that with Clara and the others by her side, she could face anything. For the first time, Lyra slept without fear. She dreamed of flying high above the schoolyard, her wings strong, free, and unbroken. She dreamed of standing tall with her friends, facing any challenge that came their way. She knew that the bullies might return, but she also knew something more important. She would never be alone again. And together, humans and aliens alike could stand up for what was right. The next morning, the sun rose over Aurora 7, spreading golden light across the city. Lyra woke early, stretching her wings carefully. They were strong now, fully healed from the daily attacks. The feathers gleamed in the light, soft and unbroken. She smiled. Today was the day. Today she would face Curran and his group one last time. Clara was waiting outside, her green eyes calm but determined. "Ready?" she asked. Lyra nodded. "Yes, I've trained, I'm ready." "We're ready." Clara placed a hand on her shoulder. "Good. Remember, it's not just about strength. It's about courage, teamwork, and confidence. We fight smart together." Lyra took a deep breath. The schoolyard was already busy with students arriving. She noticed several younger alien students watching her as she walked, their eyes wide with hope. They had learned from her courage that they could stand up for themselves too. As Lyra and Clara entered the yard, the bullies were waiting. Curran's face twisted with anger. Varro, Jinna, and Lorik flanked him, their claws flexing. "You again," Curran said, his voice sharp. "You think you can stop us forever?" Lyra stood tall, wings spread slightly behind her. They shimmered in the sunlight, strong and free. She did not flinch. "I don't need to stop you forever," she said calmly. "I just need to stop you today." Clara stepped beside her, her fists clenched and her body ready. "And we'll do it together," she said. The bullies lunged immediately. Curran aimed for Lyra's right wing, but she twisted to the side, letting him stumble past her. She moved with grace, her wings helping her balance. Varro tried to grab her, but she sidestepped and lightly pushed him back. Jinna and Lorik rushed together, but Lyra spun and ducked, landing lightly on her feet. Each movement was precise, controlled, and strong. This time, Lyra was not alone. Behind her, Ethan, Myra, and several other students stepped forward. They had been inspired by her courage and training. Together, the group formed a small team, ready to face the bullies as one. The bullies hesitated. They had never seen so many students stand together. Their confidence began to crack. "You think numbers matter?" Curran sneered. Lyra shook her head slightly. "No, courage matters, standing together matters, and you've already lost that fight." The first strike came from Curran again, but this time, Clara intercepted him, pushing him back. Lyra and Myra worked together to dodge Lorik's attack, while Ethan helped block Varro. The movements were smooth, almost like a dance. Every strike from the bullies was anticipated and avoided. Every attack was met with teamwork. The students watching from the sidelines gasped. They had never seen such skill and coordination from humans and aliens working together. Whispers spread quickly. "Look at them. Lyra is amazing. They can't be beaten." Lyra felt her wings lift slightly. The power she had felt before was stronger now. She realized that courage was contagious. Her friends' bravery made her stronger and her strength gave them courage. Together, they were unstoppable. Curran growled in frustration. How is this possible?" "You taught us," Lyra said calmly, her voice steady. "You taught us what fear is, and we decided we won't live in fear anymore." The bullies lunged again, more desperate this time. Curran swung his claws, Varro lunged, Jinna and Lorik tried to surround them, but the team was ready. They moved as one. Clara blocked Curran, Lyra dodged Varro and used her wings to glide behind him. Myra tripped Lorik and Ethan pushed Jinna back. Every attack failed. The students watching began to cheer louder. Their voices spread across the yard. "Go. You can do it. Stand together. You're brave." The bullies faltered under the pressure. Their attacks became sloppy. Their confidence crumbled. They realized that they were no longer in control. The fear they had used to dominate the school had disappeared. Lyra felt a surge of pride. She had not only defended herself but had inspired others to stand with her. Her wings stretched fully behind her, shining in the sunlight. She felt free. She felt strong. She felt alive. Curran lunged one last time, swinging with all his strength. Lyra anticipated the move. She twisted to the side, using her wings for balance, and lightly pushed him forward. He stumbled and fell hard on the ground, unable to get up. Varro, Jinna, and Lorik tried again, but the team's coordination was perfect. They blocked, dodged, and countered each move with ease. Finally, the bullies realized they could not win. They had been defeated by courage, teamwork, and determination. Lyra stepped forward, her wings spread wide. "It's over," she said. "We won't let fear control us anymore." The students around them cheered loudly. The power of the bullies was broken. The schoolyard, once filled with fear, was now filled with hope and excitement. Clara smiled at Lyra. "You did it. You've shown everyone that courage matters more than strength. That fear can be beaten. That together we are stronger." Lyra looked around at the students who had joined them. Myra and Ethan were smiling, proud of what they had accomplished. Other students, who had been too afraid to act before, were looking at Lyra with admiration. For the first time, Lyra felt truly free. Her wings were unbroken, strong, and ready to soar. She realized that courage was not just about fighting. It was about inspiring others to stand up, to move forward, and to protect what was right. The bullies retreated, their confidence shattered. They had learned a lesson. Fear could be defeated by courage and unity. Curran looked back once, his face twisted in frustration, but he did not return. Lyra and Clara led the group to the practice room. There they celebrated quietly. They practiced new movements, learned better coordination, and laughed together. The fear and pain of the past weeks were gone, replaced with strength, pride, and friendship. By the end of the day, Lyra was exhausted but happy. She looked at her wings in the light streaming through the window. They were perfect now, strong and unbroken. They had carried her through fear, through pain, and through victory. Clara sat beside her. "You've done something amazing," she said. "Not just for yourself, but for everyone who needed courage. You've changed this school," Lyra smiled. "We've changed this school together." That night, Lyra lay in bed, thinking about everything that had happened. She thought about the mornings when she had felt weak, the pain of her broken wings, and the fear she had carried for so long. She thought about Clara, who had believed in her. She thought about the students who had joined them, inspired by her courage. Her wings twitched slightly as she closed her eyes. They had been broken, but now they were strong. They had carried her through fear, through pain, and now through victory. They were not just wings, they were symbols of strength, courage, and hope. Lyra dreamed of flying high above Aurora 7, her wings strong and free. She imagined the schoolyard below, filled with students no longer afraid. She dreamed of standing tall with her friends, facing any challenge together. When she woke the next morning, Lyra felt different. She had learned something important. Fear could be defeated, bullying could be stopped, and courage could change everything. Clara was waiting outside. "Good morning," she said. "Ready for another day?" Lyra smiled, spreading her wings slightly. "Yes, I'm ready for anything." Together they walked toward the schoolyard. The bullies were no longer there. The yard was peaceful, filled with students talking, laughing, and learning. Lyra's heart swelled with pride. She had fought back. She had inspired others. She had changed her world. And as she looked up at the sky, wings fully spread, she felt truly free. The days that followed were brighter. Lyra continued to train, her movements more graceful, her courage stronger. She helped other students who had been bullied, teaching them to stand up, to move, and to protect themselves. Clara stayed by her side, proud of the human girl's courage that had inspired so much change. Lyra realized that courage was contagious. One brave act could inspire many. One strong heart could change a community. She had learned that humans and aliens could work together, that friendship and teamwork were more powerful than fear. And every morning when she looked at her wings in the mirror, she smiled. They were no longer broken. They were strong, unshaken, and beautiful. Lyra knew that nothing could hold her down again. Not fear, not bullies, not pain. She had found her courage, her strength, and her freedom. And with that, Lyra soared into the bright morning sky of Aurora 7, wings wide, strong, and unbroken, ready to face the world.